Hello and welcome to this training video about administering Azure resources. In the first part of this video, I talked about the Azure Resource Management with the help of different administration tools, including the Azure portal and the Cloud Shell. In this video, I'll be talking about the ARM templates. How do we use them for the deployment of the resources and the management of these resources? The module objectives are exporting the JSON templates schema and the template parameters. Considering the Azure Bicep files, then a demonstration about using the Quickstart templates. Learning recap. This module is part of the learning path about managing Azure identities and governance, which covers 20 to 25% of the exam AZ-104 for Azure administrators. In this module, the topics that are covered are modify an ARM template, deploy a template, finally save a deployment as an ARM template. Without any further ado, let's get into the discussion of ARM templates. ARM templates are used for the repetitive deployment and to save the time and to ensure that the correct configuration is deployed. Think of it with an example. For an instance, I'm getting a call while I'm driving. I have many templates in my phone that I use to revert back to the caller. Maybe I'll call you later, or I cannot talk at this moment. I'm driving. So I have the templates already. And the benefit of using these template messages is that number one, I can save my time by reverting back through these templates and I can reuse them. So this reusability can save a lot of time. Number two, it ensures that the correct message is delivered to the caller. In case if I will be typing it manually, then it can lead into lots of issues. So it is always beneficial using such messages. In fact, avoiding the calls or the phone at all during the driving is a good idea. Anyways, if I talk about the templates in context with Azure, so they are also doing these two things. They can help in redeployment of the environment. Maybe I have multiple environments to deploy the infrastructure, my development environment, production, quality assurance. I can use the templates to reuse them. By making some minor changes, I can use them across the different projects within the organization or maybe outside the organization as well. I can contribute to the community and share that template with others. So it improves the consistency and promotes the reuse, reduces the manual, error-prone and repetitive tasks. Express complex deployments. You can put all express deployments with requirement of multi-tier applications in one single template or maybe linked templates. Express requirements through code, provides validation tasks. They are modular. You can keep them modular by putting multiple different application tiers, workloads in different templates. Create multiple small templates and then link them together with a template rather than putting everything in one single template. Because if you do so, then you reduce the chances of reusability if your template is having everything in one single template. So try to keep it modular. Simplifies the orchestration. The infrastructure as code helps you to deploy the infrastructure in an automated manner and can save lots of time and the money. These ARM templates are written in JSON. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. It's Java-like language, not exactly Java. The objects stored in JSON are in key value format, and these keys and values are the strings. That is why you see them wrapped with double quotes. These keys and values define the object attributes, and we can have the multiple objects within this as well in terms of or inside a square bracket. We will see the structure of this JSON template shortly. This document is having key value pair. It doesn't mean that you can put anything as a key and the value in it. It has a predefined structure, or you can say it has a schema that is supposed to be followed. There are few elements which are important or mandatory to be used inside the ARM template. We will see them shortly. Each value can be a string, number, Boolean expression, list of values, or can be an object itself. To see this JSON template parameter, we will have a look into a template in the live deployment shortly, and we'll see that why do we parameterize the templates, and after parameterizing the templates, it becomes useful to reuse it because during the deployment we can provide different values to that particular field rather than hard coding it within the code. It specifies which values are configurable when the template runs. So the things that may change, the values that may require a change, you can parameterize them, just like in any application or scripts we do. This example has two parameters, and these two parameters are, one is admin username and second one is admin password. Admin username is a simple string in plain text, whereas the admin password is a secure string. Consider Azure Bicep files. The benefit of using Azure Bicep file is that they are more granular or modular as compared to the ARM templates. Simpler syntax for writing these templates. Smaller module files you can reference from a main template. You must understand as a developer the benefit of using the packages or modules because you can reuse these libraries across different projects that you do. Same thing is here. Automatically detect dependencies between your resources. Dependency management is very important part in it, where we need the different packages to reutilize. Visual Studio Code extension is there with validation and IntelliSense features that can IntelliSense for the code. Here we see the demonstration on locating the Azure Quickstart templates and deploying a JSON or a Bicep template from the Quickstart. For this demonstration, all I can do is I can open the template deployment from the Azure portal. I go with the deploy a custom template service, which I can use to deploy a template. I can build my own template in the editor, or I can use some existing templates to create this template or use this template. I will go with build your own template in the editor. We have quick start templates also. From the drop down we can select any of the template and use it, or we have template spec. I go with build your own template in the editor. You will see this template is blank. In any template in ARM or this JSON based ARM template, there are three things which are mandatory. And what are those? Number one is the schema. Schema is mandatory because this template has a structure. Number two is the content version, which does the versioning of the ARM template, through which I can maintain multiple versions and roll back to the last known good configuration. Third thing which is mandatory is a resource that I want to deploy. So at least one resource will be required. Parameters are optional. You can hard code everything within it. For all the fields you can hard code the values, or if you want to increase the reusability of this template, then you can parameterize some of the fields and use them. These three elements are mandatory in any ARM template. I repeat, schema, content version and resources are mandatory. This is the schema that will be used by this template. I don't have any variables, resources or parameters so far in this template. I can add a resource and I can select the resource that I want to deploy using this. For an instance, I want to create a virtual network using it. This is create a virtual network. I have a name field over here. Enter a name for the virtual network that you want it to be. For an instance, I want this as demo VNet. Click OK. You will notice that one resource has been added with 5 variables. Because for the virtual network, few things will be required, like the virtual network address space, the subnets, at least one subnet, but here we are deploying 2 subnets. So these things have been stored in form of variables. You see, this variables is an object which is storing all these fields. Then these variables have been called wherever required. For an instance, to deploy the virtual network, so the display name will be demo vnet, which is hard coded here. We don't have any parameter. We don't have a choice to provide the name during the deployment of it. It has been hard coded. Else we have to create a parameter and use it inside it. We will also see that shortly. I can download this template for future reference. I also can upload any template I have that I want to use. I will use this simple template to keep this short and simple, and will click on save. We'll choose a subscription where I want to do the deployment, a resource group in which I want to deploy it, and the region. Finally, I will do the deployment of this template. I don't have any further parameters as part of the template because we have seen that template does not have any parameters. Rest of the things have been hard coded within that template. I will click on create button and the template will be deployed. If you are deploying any template and you want to visualize, you can use the ARM visualizer, which is armviz.io. And let me proceed to this. The certificate of this has been expired, but I can trust it, and I open this website. And here you see this is the templates visualization on the I. Here you see my VM. This has 2 LAN cards and 1 storage account. This LAN card is connected to the VNet. This LAN card is not only connected to the VNet but to the backend point of a load balancer, and then the load balancer's front end is having public IP. If you see this as a code here, you will realize that it is very difficult to identify the dependencies of the resources or the structure of this template or the resources, how are they connected. Here you will see easily that this virtual network that we have, this is compute virtual machine. Virtual machine has the dependency on storage account and 2 NICs it is connected with. So this is the ARM visualizer. You can put your own code over here of a template and you can see how the resources are going to be connected. We have GitHub Quickstart templates, wherefrom we can use the different templates. GitHub Quickstart templates. This is Azure Quickstart template, and there is a list of lots of templates here. So this is the directory, Quick Starts, and I can choose for what kind of service I'm looking for the template. For an instance, I'm looking for Microsoft.compute, for which I have 1 VM with load balancer and 2 LAN cards, or 1 VM, 2 NICs, 2 subnets, 1 VNet. So multiple templates are there. I pick one of that from here. This is the entire detail of this template. I can deploy directly to Azure, deploy to Azure Go, or I can visualize it using the ARM visualizer. So it will open that same in that ARM visualizer to visualize what resources it is going to deploy. This is going to be my template. And actually this is the text inside this template. Here we go back to the quick start template. Okay, so this was the text that you can see here. I go back to this template and I want to deploy it to Azure. So I'll click on that button, deploy to Azure, because I'm already logged into my Azure account. So it'll use the single sign-on and will redirect me to the Azure portal, to that same service that I was using to deploy the templates. Once I'm being redirected, then I can provide the values for the mandatory parameters, whatever I have, and then I can carry on with the deployment. In case I want to use these templates, I can directly use them from the quick start template as well. I can pick a template, or I can search for that. For an instance, I'm looking for a template with virtual machine, and which virtual machine, maybe these. Okay, so with 1 SQL, or maybe I'm looking for DC for the domain controller deployment, high availability with 2 DCs. So Active Directory domain services I want to deploy. So there is one template. You can see the details from here as well, and you can edit the template or select the template. So I can go to the template editor. This is the template which has 10 parameters in it, 37 variables, and 13 resources will be deployed by this template. Once you have finalized it, you can select this template and all the parameter fields have come up over here that you have to provide, which resource group you want to deploy it in, what will be the username password for this virtual machine, the domain name datum.com will be the domain name, DNS prefix, so demo, and today's date to make it unique, so 2/12/24. And here we have 3389 RDP that I'm going to enable, 2 virtual CPUs and 8 gig of memory. This is the virtual machine size. I will provide the required parameters. What you can do is you can store the parameter values in a parameter file, and you can ship or provide this parameter value from the parameter file as well. I'll show you that shortly. How do we do that? And then finally I can review and create and initiate the deployment of this template. So the resources that have been specified in that template will be deployed. I have few values still missing that I need to provide. Here we go. And this is correct. This is fine. 5AB. This is my subscription. This is the location. It will be West US, student, the password. These things are correct. I can again review and validate that whether it satisfies all the requirements or not. So deployment template validation failed. The template expression in parameter artifact location at line 63 column 63 is not valid. Okay, so I will look for that. This is the artifact location SAS token and artifact location URI it is looking for. Anyways, I'll look for that shortly. I will go to edit this template and will replace this template with a different one. So for an instance, I want to deploy any template I have. For an instance, for the WVD, I have some templates here, lab files. So this is the template that I want to deploy some virtual machines. Now this template will have some parameters. You see 4 parameters. So it will ask for those values. If I click on save, so it will ask me the name prefix, the admin username, the password. But if I want to provide these values to the parameter through the template itself, so I can load the file, and from there I can choose that particular file. It will have those values within it, and then I can save it. So those values will be provided through that parameter file. So that is also stored in the JSON. Finally, I can click on review and create. On the basic part, I had to select the resource group, in which resource group I want to do the deployment. We'll click review and create, and will initiate the deployment of this template from here. This is how I deploy the templates from the portal, Azure portal. For an instance, you had to do the same thing from the Cloud Shell. You can launch the Cloud Shell, and from the Cloud Shell, you can use the PowerShell or Azure CLI commands to initiate the deployment of such templates. Here I create a, first of all I get the Azure subscriptions. I switch to PowerShell to use instead of Bash Shell. And in this, I have the option to manage files, where I can upload the files. If I do ls, the files will be listed. I already have that same template that I used earlier in this as well. I create the first of all I get the Azure subscriptions that I have available. I want to know that where I'm working. Then I can select the subscription using the subscription ID parameter, and this subscription ID is, for an instance, I want to use the subscription ending with this 5AB. So I will first ensure that I'm in the correct subscription to work with. This is the selected subscription. I will create a new resource group, for an instance, resource group, and this resource group, it has IntelliSense as well that I can use, and then the location, in which location I want to create this resource group. This is going to be West US. The name for this resource group is going to be test RG. The cloud shell I'm testing, so CS, I just provided this name, and I created a resource group where I want some templates to be deployed. I'll do ls. I have these templates. I'll use the required command, New-AzResourceGroupDeployment. These are the parameters for it. I used it in past in the part 1 of this video also, so I can use it from there. This is New-AzResourceGroupDeployment, and this is my template file. So test rgcs will be the resource group where I want to do the deployment, and template file is this, and template parameter file is 25.parameters.json. Now when you do the deployment, you will have these resources created that have been specified as part of this template file. This is how you can initiate the deployment of a template through the Cloud Shell. We can pause the video for a while and come back to see the deployment of the template. This is completed, be it the portal one or through the command line that I initiated. I wanted to come to this deployment and share something important with you, that is the deployment mode. So here you see that the mode of the template deployment is incremental, which means that if the resource group where you're doing the deployment is having some other resources already, so they will be intact. It will not make any changes to them. So for an instance, if I had this resource group and prior to doing the deployment of my resource group, there were some resources in this resource group I created, that was test rgcs, where I did this deployment, test rgcs. So those resources which were not part of the template will remain intact, okay, because it is incremental by nature. But suppose I want to change this to complete mode. We have another mode called complete, and let's see what is complete mode. I create a resource which is not part of the template. It's not defined in the template file. For instance, I create a route table, any sort of resource. I'm picking up this one because it requires least parameter values to create the resource. Here is my subscription, the resource group where I want to do the deployment of this route table, and test route table, review and create. I created this route table. This time, instead of doing the incremental template deployment, I do the template deployment once again, but this time in the command I use a parameter called mode. So here you notice that the parameter I'm using here is mode, and I choose the complete. I hit tab complete, so there are predefined or validated set values, complete and incremental, that I can use. Default nature was incremental, which means that it will leave other resources in that resource group intact. But if you go with the complete, this will ensure that the resource group is having only those resources that are part of the template file. It will delete any other resource from there. If I go to the resource group here to just show you, so this is the route table that I recently deployed, and the resource group where it was deployed is this. It is having test RT, but because I'm saying this time complete, so it will deploy the resources, but it will keep only those resources that are part of the template file. That is why here it is giving you the warning that are you sure you want to use the template deployment mode, that complete mode, because resources in the resource group test RG CS which are not included in the template will be deleted. I need to provide my consent and continue with this sort of deployment. And this time you will notice that rest of the resources will be there, though of course no change requirement will be there because the resources already exist. And that's the beauty of ARM templates, that they are idempotent in nature. You can do the template deployment again and again to get the same outcome. So this is what complete mode is. This time you will see that this resource which is not part of the code or the template will be deleted. I will refresh this window of my resource group, and shortly I will see that the route table is deleted. This is about the deployment mode. Here you see that that resource has been deleted by the template deployment. If you want to learn more about the ARM templates, there is a complete deep dive that you can have from the Microsoft Learn. I'll be putting the link in the description of this video, and refer to that, and useful resources I'll be putting over there. This talks about the structure of this template. Here you see, and how to use these resources, template file, parameters, variables, user defined functions, resources. So template design, how the template is designed, all these resources. And you will see the quick starts to deploy the templates, creating it through the Visual Studio Code, through the portal, or through the template spec. You have tutorials as well for beginner level templates, like creating it from scratch, and then deployment, where you will see the local template or linked template. Linked template, I was talking about, that make your templates modular in design and then link them together rather than putting everything in one. So creating a linked template. Here you will see that this is the template which is having the storage account in this. Here is the linked template, and the linked template is this. Storage account has been used within this one. So this is how we can reuse these small templates as libraries in other template files. And if you want to keep this more simple, then you can think of using the Bicep. Well, coming back to the slide deck of this module, what we have discussed so far is seeing these templates and using them. You will be performing a lab also around this. We talked about creating Azure resources using the ARM templates, deploying the infrastructure by using the ARM templates, the Bicep and its benefits I discussed. There is a lab on managing Azure resources by using the ARM templates. This is the lab that you will be performing these tasks. The architecture of this lab is this: task 1 disk, and you will be using the edit to edit this task 2, 3, and 4 and 5. 5 will be for Bicep here. So create an Azure Resource Manager template, edit an ARM template, and deploy the template. Then configure the Cloud Shell and deploy a template with Azure PowerShell. Next is deploy a template with the CLI. Then task 5 is deploy a managed disk by using the Bicep. So this is the lab architecture. You will find the lab details, how to do it, in the description of this video. Refer to the description and find the instructions to follow the lab and lab manual. Thanks for watching, and do subscribe the channel for more updates, and share this video. If you have any feedback, please put it in the comment section, or any doubts or questions. Thanks for watching once again. See you in another video, guys.